When most people think of investing in property in Australia, they think Sydney and Melbourne. But somewhere else, quietly, has been booming for the last 5 years, where property prices have doubled since COVID. That place is Perth. Whilst being a lot more affordable than its Sydney and Melbourne counterparts, Perth has been rising due to a number of reasons. The state of Western Australia makes more money than all the other states combined, and Perth offers massive affordability and quality of living, especially for the over 55s community. And we're seeing more and more people send their children to study in Perth because it's closer and it's more affordable. It's 5.5 hours away from Malaysia. We're in the same time zone. Those of you that are coming to Perth, either soon or are on their way, let me just give you a glimpse of what you're going to see when you arrive. When you come to Perth, you'll notice clean streets. You'll notice not that many people. A much more relaxed way of life than Kuala Lumpur or some other parts of Malaysia. You can suddenly see why so many Malaysians are opting to come here to live, to study, or to work. And you can also see why the property market has doubled in the last 5 years. The question then becomes about, if you're going to invest in Perth and take advantage of this market, what property do you go for and where? Do you invest in some nice condos like this one? Do you invest in a house? Do you invest in land? Well, that's what this trip is for. We're doing trips every single month with Inhouse because our number one goal is to educate you to making the right decision. So join us on this trip as we explore the property market in Perth. When you come to the hotel, you'll be checking into the Pan Pacific in Perth CBD, East Perth area. Your taxi will take you from the airport straight to the hotel, and the first night you'll just relax because the next 2 days is jam-packed. It is the morning of day one of the Inhouse Property Perth Investors Tour. So 6:45 in the morning, breakfast is done. Now it's time to pack up your stuff for the day, because we're going to be on the coach going around Perth until the afternoon. So pack your water bottle, pack your chargers, make sure your phones are fully charged because you're going to want to take a lot of pictures and videos, and let's get going. So at 8:15 we'll meet outside the hotel lobby and we'll be getting on our bus just to the left hand side onto our first destination. So our first stop, day one, and what a view you can see here. We'll get off the coach and we'll be discussing condos like this, which are owned by mainly Malaysians and Singaporeans, why they buy them, the huge price they pay for them. And listen, with a view like this, if this was in Malaysia, all these would be tall condos. They're not here. This whole city is planned out properly for 25 years in advance. So when cities expand here, they know where they're going to go. They know where the residential is going to be. They know where the warehouses are going to be. They know where the trains are going to be needed. So you can plan ahead 25 years in advance when buying such things as land in cities like this. Now, while the opportunities for most property investors are very limited inside the CBD area, there are other opportunities outside, and it will just depend on budget, how old you are, and if you want high yield or high capital appreciation. The air is fresh, there's a breeze in the air, it's 27 degrees, the city's peaceful. You've got runners and joggers running up and down this every single morning. You can begin to see why 10,000 people every single month are moving to Perth. Our second stop, Kings Park. Next stop, some retail therapy at a place called Hillary's. Now this is one of the biggest marinas in northern Perth, and we're about 25 kilometers outside of the CBD, facing the Indian Ocean. The next place from here, if you continue straight across looking at the sea, about 11-hour flight away, is South Africa. Some of the property here, you can see, go for between 5 to 7 million Australian dollars. 10 to 15 years ago, you could buy a plot of land here for about 200,000 Australian dollar, have a company, construction company, come and build you a custom built house for about 400 to 500,000, and then 10 years later, triple up your money. The real money though is in the land, it's not in the build. And let's face it, not many of us own a construction company to make that profit anyway. So it's either you're buying the house at the end when it's the most expensive price, or you're buying the land. Which one do you choose? Fortunately, these pieces of land today in an area like this, you're looking at least $1 million Australian dollar. So the opportunity is past for this area. However, the skill lies identifying where the next place is so we can all get in for the cheapest possible price, but still experience that growth. So the biggest question is money versus time. Of course, when you're investing, you've got to think, how much money do I want to make over what period of time? Buying one of these properties in this area will still set you back between 5 to 7 million with a rental yield between 4 to 5%. Financing is available to Malaysians now, depending on your circumstance, but it's still a lot of cash to outlay. Especially in a developed area, you're always going to face that risk. So if you've got the budget to do it, and you're looking for a lifestyle change, and you're looking to potentially move to Perth, this area is a great location if it's in your budget. It's also got one of the greatest universities here in Perth. Next stop, Bullalal Beach. Now this is 40 kilometers out from the city centre, and still houses on this area still ranging above 5 million US dollars. This is one of the best beaches in town, as you can see why people would want to move or live here. And again, 40 kilometers outside of the city centre to the north. What a stunning place. This part of the trip, we have the famous fish and chip restaurant. This is the one for the locals, and it's way better, trust me. So now we're in another residential development that is called Sterling. About 10 years ago, this area was completely flat and it was called Market Gardens. Market Gardens being an area where they grow vegetables. Now you see houses going here for between 1.5 to 2.5 million Australian dollars. And once again, just across the road from here, you'll see a new development coming up, which is now build ready. And that means all the infrastructure's in, the road's in, and now you can buy the plot to land for about 350 to 450 Australian dollars and then build your property on there, whichever customize or whichever house type you want. This is still 25 minutes from the city centre, and this is one of the nicest places to live in the whole of Perth. If you've got a bit of money and you're wealthy, you don't live in the CBD. You live in suburbs like this, with loads of recreational space, huge houses like this, better quality of life. Welcome to day 2 of the in-house Perth property tour. Today we are drilling down into the south of Perth, and we're going to go and see the opportunity that me and in-house have already invested in. We're going to be getting on a boat and we're going to be going to a place called Mandurah. It's our final day of the trip. Last night we had an amazing buffet, probably the best buffet I've ever been to. The food was absolutely superb, and then we finished off with a little bit of time in the casino. But today's going to be a very exciting day for everybody. Let's get on the coach. Just picked up some massive cookies for the boat ride. We are now in Mandurah Bay, where all the cruises go from, and we're going to take a boat for an hour around this area to see all of the most expensive houses. There's 100,000 people here. This is not a town anymore, this is a city, and it's growing. We're now on the boat and we're going to be seeing some of the most expensive property in Mandurah. These land plots you see here, they're selling for per plot 1 million Australian dollar. when you buy a plot here, you have to build a house worth more than $1 million. And that's going up every single month to more and more, just to make sure people don't build very small properties on that area, because it's all about status. Now, this area you'll see duplicated around Mandurah, these canals with expensive properties and jetties, and everyone's got their own boat all throughout Mandurah, including right next door to our site. There's 2 of them. Welcome to Austin Lakes. Developer, Wolfdean. Now let me tell you about Wolfdean. Wolfdean have 3.6 billion Australian dollars under development in the Perth Mandurah area currently. And Austin Lakes, the jewel in their crown. Properties here sell for 1 to 1.5 million Australian dollars, and are mostly Australian families and the over 55 community living here. Australians buy property slightly differently to how we typically buy in Malaysia. Let's take Austin Lakes for example. The developer will buy a piece of land. They then will apply for what's called DSP to make sure that the site is all ready to be constructed upon. Once the site has its DSP, they then market them to the end users, the end buyers of the house. The prices of Austin Lakes land with DSP is currently here. Example here, 338,000 Australian dollar for just the land. That's without the construction price. To build one of these homes, you're looking at about 500 to 600,000 Australian dollar on top of the land price, giving you a total value of your home of about $1 million Australian dollar. Let's take a look at just what's next door, because Wolfdean also own all this land you can see here. This is the next phase of future development. I'm going to take you to what will become the next Austin Lakes in just a few years' time. Let me take you to the site that I've been lucky enough to invest in. Here we are at the end of the day, just before sunset, and we've arrived at the DevSpace site. This site is poised to be the next area of development in Mandurah. Wolfdean own all the pieces of land you can see in this area, apart from 2 sites. This site here that we own, and this site over here that is owned by someone else. You think you need hundreds of thousands of dollars to get involved in the Perth property boom? Think again. Inhouse has got you covered. Austin Lakes that you just seen is part of a $2 billion investment that is now wrapping up. The next site of development is next door, and our site falls directly within that plan. The best part about being owners of this land is that Wolfdean are paying for the DSP planning for the entire district. Meaning, as owners of this land, we don't need to pay anything towards that planning. This is not common, this is not typical, this is pretty rare. But we have it in black and white from local planners that this is the case. DevSpace currently own this site. Due to this reason that Wolfdean are paying for the DSP and all the planning, they've chosen to just wait until that planning is achieved and then sell the land for a big uplift. DevSpace are now on the negotiation to buy the second plot of land just across the way here. Now, let me explain a little bit about how land and house packages work here and how they're valued. With DSP, that same land is being sold now in Austin Lakes just across the road for $140,000. But it's not build ready yet. Build ready means you've got to connect your water supply, your electric supply, and road access. Once you've done that, these are the prices they're going for now in Austin Lakes. $338,000, $340,000 Australian dollar. So what would you rather invest into? A build-ready site for $338,000 that is not going to go up more in price, that you need to spend another $600,000 constructing a property on just to sell for $1 million? Or would you rather invest a smaller amount in the site next door, let someone else pay for the planning permission, and in 18 months' time sell it for $140,000? For me, it's a no-brainer, and this is why I've invested in this site myself. I've bought 50 plots. 1 kilometre away is Austin Lakes. A private high school already exists just half a kilometre down the road. There's shopping coming in, Coles supermarkets coming in as part of the Austin Lakes development, which means we don't need to pay for that because it's a short distance away. This gives you the opportunity now to invest into one of these housing plots and let it become the best investment you've ever made. The best thing about this, you don't need to decide sitting in that office. You don't need to decide from Malaysia. We believe this so much. We're paying and sponsoring for you to come to here to see this with your own eyes. And not only this site, we're going to teach you about the whole of Perth and why the property market here is booming. You're going to see multiple different areas. You're going to see condos, you're going to see houses, you're going to see over 55 communities, you're going to see university communities. Which one's right for you? Are you after a yield play? Are you after a capital appreciation play? Or is a deal like I've done better for you? And together we can get opportunities like this direct from developer that normally we wouldn't have access to. So book yourself onto the next trip, book your tickets now, and come and see us with your own eyes. Okay, now it's time for our last lunch together. So the final meal is done, and that is our tour complete. What are you going to get when you come on this trip? Well, you're going to see multiple areas of Perth, north, south. You're going to see the over 55s community. You're going to see a mixture of housing developments and condo developments. You're going to see the bad areas to invest into, the good areas to invest into. So for 2,000 ringgit, you get the hotel paid for, the flights paid for, all your food and drinks paid for in some of the best restaurants in Perth. You're going to walk away becoming Perth property experts, and when you do decide to invest, whether that's now or later down the line, you're going to know exactly where the best place is to do it, and you're going to know exactly what deal you're going to get before you go in, and you're going to see it with your own eyes. Don't leave it down to chance, guys. Get yourself out here and see it for yourself before you put your hard-earned money down into a property. This trip's for people that have got a genuine curiosity about investing in the Perth property market that's been booming for the last 5 years. This trip's for people that are tired of making 3, 4, 5% returns in the Malaysian property market. We meet developers on the ground here that have been developing here for the last 20 to 30 years. People that know the property market inside out, where the next areas are, and the best type of property to invest into. And that's the trip finally complete. Look guys, what a great couple of days I've had, and I can't wait to see you there next time. I can't wait to do this all over again next month. Book your tickets while they last. We can only have 30 people on each trip because of the capacity of the coach. Tickets are going fast every single month because of the giveaway that we're doing. So the tickets are free. Contact one of your consultants now to find out more and get these units while they last, because this opportunity doesn't come around that often. I'll see you there.